plenty of requests for their signature hot chocolate in the cafe upstairs. Apart from family, chocolate was Andrew Bennett's life. He loved creating new recipes, intricate designs. If only everything in his life was that easy. He unlocked the rear entrance to the Chocolatier, which led through to the office, the main kitchen where he switched on the lights, and a segregated room where they held workshops and parties. He'd worried these premises would be too compact in the summer months, become unbearable when the heat bore down on the whole of Melbourne. Chocolate needed an ideal temperature, not too hot, not too cold. Gemma called it the Goldilocks temperature. But the air conditioning had worked a treat, and the heaters would warm the place up when the cooler months were upon them. Andrew switched on the tempering machines, which had been on standby overnight, maintaining the melted chocolate so it was ready to begin using quickly in the morning. He sat on the wooden stool at the bench in the kitchen and checked the list he'd made last night. Through the day yesterday, as with every other day, when stocks ran low, it was noted down, if they had an online order for a customer. Magnolia Creek Chocolatier supplied one of the big Melbourne department stores. It was added to the list as well. He pulled on the brown apron, embellished with Magnolia Creek Chocolatier in silver writing on the front, and he set to work. This was something he could throw himself into, so he didn't have to think about his marriage and how it had once been so perfect, so dreamlike. So he didn't have to think about Julia Mason and what she'd done all those years ago. He was 46 years old, and ever since he was 15, he'd wondered what had driven her to treat him that way when they'd been a couple very much in love. But he guessed it wouldn't be long, now Julia was in touch with him online, before he got the answers to his questions. He laughed at the irony. Technology was great in some ways. In others, it could turn your whole world upside down. Andrew let the smell of chocolate envelop him. This was his comfort, and despite working with chocolate every day, he never lost an appreciation for its beauty. As he worked, he let the familiarity and his passion calm his mind. He visualised the process, the finished product, the love he'd felt since the day he started working in the family business. The job of a chocolatier was fiddly. It required patience. What it didn't need was him losing concentration as memories of the past resurfaced, and taking his anger out on the stuff and ending up with inedible rubbish that anyone off the street could have made, rather than someone with over 20 years' experience. He watched the silky smooth, tempered dark chocolate pour out of the spout into the vat below, wishing he could lose his own thoughts of the past in the depth and beauty of the mixture. He pressed the floor pedal to stop the flow, put a jug beneath the spout, and released his foot to fill it halfway. Over at the bench top, he filled a piping bag with the dark mixture, twisted the top to secure the contents, snipped the bottom of the bag, and piped chocolate discs onto the laid-out transfer sheet of cocoa butter circles covered in multicoloured roses. This was what he loved. This was what always kept him sane. No matter what else was going on in his life, his work had a way of grounding him. His hands took control. His fingers applied the right amount of pressure to the bag to get the perfect shape and finish. Already, he could see the green and red cheerful pattern from the transfers topping the dark, glossy chocolate and creating the perfect contrast. When he'd piped 20, he set the tray onto a high shelf and piped a second batch onto another sheet. These chocolates were one of their biggest sellers, and once they were cooled, they would be packaged up for sale in the shop. Come midday, it was all systems go, and the place was awash with activity. Emilio, an experienced chocolatier Andrew had plucked from competitors when he attended a conference in the city, put the finishing touches to dark chocolate truffles for the counter in the shop, and local girl Stephanie was working on the floor out front, having taken well to her part-time job, which also involved designing packaging for their products. Andrew filled an online order, continued with the list of chocolates needed for replenishing the shelves in the shop, served locals and visitors ice cream they had supplied by a local farm in the Yarra Valley. Chocolate tempered in the machines to produce the rich, silky mixture to work with. There was mixing, moulding and decorating, and Andrew finished off the seashells he'd made earlier by sprinkling sea salt over the